Over the weekend, we had a lot of stuff happen, some positive and some tragic, but to start it all off, we got the Logan Paul KSI fight, followed by some depressing news that happened at a Jacksonville gaming tournament this weekend. What's going on, guys? My name is Azzer, bringing you another episode of Famous News. We have a few stories to cover, the biggest being the Logan Paul KSI fight that happened in the UK this weekend. So let's get into it. Logan Paul fought KSI this weekend at the Manchester Arena in the UK, and it was quite the fight. Both Logan and KSI have been trained for months, and this fight was nothing what I expected, honestly. Now, both the boys had been talking trash, hyping up this fight, making bets on what round who would knock out who in, but neither KSI or Logan were knocked out during this fight, so it came to a draw, meaning neither one of them, won their bet. But anyways, KSI stays the champ of YouTube boxing, as in a draw, the current champ keeps the belt until there's a rematch. And let me tell you, there's for sure going to be a rematch. Both KSI and Logan have already agreed to have a fight, but this time it's going to be on Logan's terms, which means it's in LA. Also, Logan finally got his wish. He saw it was under KSI's bandana, and to Logan's surprise, it was a forehead. Now let's move on to Jake versus Deji, because that fight was nothing compared to what people were expecting. Everyone thought that after the weigh-in, Jake was for sure going to kill Deji, because Deji wasn't looking so hot. Me, myself included. I have to say, though, that after I watched the fight, Deji really did have a chance. If there was a 7th round, I'm not really too sure that Jake would have won. Deji wasn't lying about being prepared for the fight and, training and all that. I understand that people claim he had his trainer dropped. Well, he was dropped. But I gotta say, he was trained independently or whatever his excuse was, and I don't really think it was an excuse. He was more prepared than any of us could have really guessed, and he looked good in the fight. Honestly, he kind of, did as good as Jake almost. And I'm happy to say that I'm sorry, Deji. I was wrong about you. And I think if there was a rematch, you could beat Jake, honestly. In response to the fight, both Jake and Deji were very professional. They had told each other that they did a good job. But if you want to hear more about that, they've both made responses to the fight over on their channels. Go check those out. Now, when it comes to the undercard fight, we have Jay Swingler versus this dude named Esson Gibb. I don't know who that is, but anyways, the winner was Gibb. But I gotta say, Jay did put up a good fight, so good on you, Jay. And then we have Raka Raka versus Scarce, winner being Raka Raka, but Scarce did give it his all, so good job, Scarce. Following that, we have Faze Sensei versus Overt Flow, winner being Faze, but good job to Overt Flow. Next up, we got JMX versus Coach Richard, winner being JMX, props to Coach though. Now after that, we got MOMO versus Rossi HD, winner being MOMO, but good job to Rossi. In the last undercard spot, we got Call Me Ham versus Drizzy Jeremy, winner being Call Me Ham. Good job to Jeremy though. Now I know some of you guys are probably gonna be like, oh, Jake Paul and Deji was an undercard, but I don't really consider it an undercard, because they were kind of one of the headlining fights. But if you disagree, you know where to put it. Now I'm gonna be talking about the fight in my opinion, because I think a lot of it was staged. I mean, there's a lot of proof that goes into it, I will admit that. From just the beginning, alright, we saw at the end of the Joe Weller fight, he only called out the Pauls, any of the Pauls, the Pools. The only fight that was really staged, in my opinion, was the KSI Logan Paul. The reasons are this: there's a lot that both of them can gain from it being staged. Start off with KSI. Sure, he's the biggest YouTuber in Britain, but he doesn't have much US exposure. So there being a rematch in LA, he can get his name out in the US, and people can kind of get to know him there, I guess. Get him a following in the US. I'm sure he's got tons of fans that are in the US, but not so many as in the UK, because even at the UK fight, all of them, they're like KSI fans. There's a few fans that flew in from the US, but for majority, it was UK fans. Oh, that's the other thing. At the end of the fight, they're both so okay with it being a draw. Neither one of them called bullshit, none of that. They were just like, oh, okay, we're rematching the US, oh, okay. But now, I think it's that way for Logan, because most of the news surrounding his name, at the moment at least, or before this fight, was all negative, He had the Suicide Force thing, and then, that's about it. But it was all negative, so people remembered him as the Suicide Forest guy. But now, people are remembering him as the guy that fought KSI, which is good publicity for him, and it gets the Suicide Forest out of the way. People won't remember that, except for a few people that just have to hold a grudge against Logan Paul. And also, I feel like in all honesty, KSI would have won that fight. And also, KSI was actually ahead by 1 point if you listen till the end when they talked about the scorecards. And if KSI really wanted to win that fight, I think he would have argued that he still had a higher score than Logan, even though it was by 1 point. And also, I think KSI was okay with the whole thing because this just means he gets to keep his belt until the rematch, which I'm sure possibly could be a real fight, but at the same time, maybe, they'll just let KSI win because they'll work out some deal. Now, that's just my opinion, though, so let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Now, let's get back into this video. And now, in the sad news that happened this weekend, the passing of war hero and U.S. Senator John McCain. Also, the mass shooting at a Madden 19 tournament over in Jacksonville, Florida. Our hearts go out to the families who lost loved ones. Now, that was all really sad news, so to cheer you guys up, I'm introducing my new segment, Patty Watch. So this segment of the show is just going to be updating you on the most Supreme Patty news that's gone down in the last week. So getting into it, Supreme Patty got some new ink this week. He's been hanging out with the boys over at the Clout House along with pro skateboarder Nyjah Houston. The last thing I've seen of Patty was him jumping onto a table at a meeting of some sort. I think it was like a fan meetup. But anyways, thanks for tuning in to this week's Patty Watch. Now back to your daily program. Thanks, Patty Watch Azzer. Now I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Famous News. As always, thanks for watching, and leave your comments somewhere down there. I mean, for these types of videos, it could be regarding future videos or your thoughts on the video. But you can find me on Instagram at Azzer_RSG. I got some big things heading that way, so be sure you go give me a follow, or at least, check out my Instagram. Don't be a dick. But you could DM me if you're from Toronto, maybe those upcoming things you could be a part of. And I'll see you guys in the next one.